We're not who we are. We're not who we think we are. We're not an individual.
What makes people stupid, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to tell it like it is
that negative emotions can be very addicting.
Poke holes in your enemy's reputation and you will destroy them. So the best advice I give people is,
we're not really independent and autonomous as we think we are. And what are we programmed by? We're programmed by our childhood and by early influences like with our parents that create certain patterns. We're programmed by our teachers and peers who told us who we are. Oh, you're too shy, or you're like this, or you're like that. They define who we are. We're programmed by society and all the social forces that we feel to conform to what makes a very pleasant, politically correct person. These forces are programming us. We're not who we are. We're not who we think we are. We're not an individual. We're compelled by other forces beyond us to become this kind of mask that we wear. And by confronting yourself, by knowing who you are, knowing who you deeply are, including the dark qualities and including the good qualities, is a way to deprogram yourself. And that's another way of looking at this. Well, one of the points in the book is to question yourself and to question your emotions. So if you feel angry or you feel excited by something, just don't act on it, but step back and go, why am I excited by this particular individual? Why am I angry at this situation? And in analyzing your own emotions, you realize that maybe you don't really need to feel that way, or you could feel something different, or you could move beyond it. I meditate every morning. I've been doing this for about 8 years now. And as I'm meditating, thoughts will come up, will bubble up constantly. I'm trying to empty my mind. Thoughts will bubble up. And the first thing I do is, where does that thought come from? And so many times I realize I have been programmed to think this certain way. I have been programmed to feel angry in this situation. I have been programmed to constantly feel anxious about whether people are liking me or not liking me. And so in confronting this element that it's not me who's governing many of these emotions, I'm able to take some distance and perhaps get out of some of these patterns. Don't accept the emotions that you feel. Question why you're feeling that way. Why you feel inferior. Why you feel you don't deserve this. Why you feel you are great and deserve so much more. Question, question, question. Don't accept and assume. Well, the thing is that negative emotions can be very addicting. And, they can sustain us, much like a kind of a rush of adrenaline. Yeah. So I talk in the book about aggressive people. People who are kind of toxically aggressive and sort of, create a lot of enemies. What we don't realize is that they get pleasure from being aggressive, from pushing people around, from manipulating, from humiliating. We've all dealt with bosses who actually love to humiliate their employees and make them feel like nothing they do is right. And we think, what a miserable bastard, how can he live with himself? But in fact, it's an addiction. It's a rush of energy. It's a rush of, I have control over this person. And by giving them that, by allowing them to be aggressive, by feeding their aggression, we feed their addiction. So any kind of negative emotion like anger, and we see this online with people who are always ranting and always outraged, is you are addicted to that emotion. It makes you feel alive. It gives you what I call a false sense of purpose. And it doesn't satisfy you or fulfill you in any way. How many times can you vent your anger and spleen online at somebody for being such an idiot, and where it's ever going to make you feel happy and fulfilled that you got it out? You never feel satisfied. You have to do it again and again and again.
More harm is caused in this world by stupid, incompetent people than by evil people. And there's a word in Greek called phronesis, which is a form of wisdom, but it's a form of practical wisdom to be able to get things done, to navigate through life, navigate through people, to be balanced and get things done. Okay? So what makes people stupid, and right now we have a lot of stupid people in this world. There always have been stupid people, but because there are more people on the planet, exponentially, there are more stupid people on the planet. What makes people stupid, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to tell it like it is their certainty that they have all the answers. This is what's going on with our government. This is what's wrong, with this or that. This is what people should be like, blah, 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 blah. So you're narrowing your focus to this little tiny little rail, something that you heard from somebody else. It's not even your own stupid idea. You've absorbed it on the internet, whatever, and you're going down on this kind of monorail path. Meanwhile, the world is all around you, and you're just going like zoom like that because you're so certain you have the answer. And when you have leaders who are so certain, they enter a country into a war that they haven't been thought out of, because and so the paradigm in ancient culture was the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta, the war that ended up kind of being the end of Athenian democracy and of their golden era, right? And it was the idea, and Thucydides, one of the greatest writers who ever lived, wrote the history of the Peloponnesian War, living at that time. The leaders thought, oh, this will be so easy. And think of all the great things when we go and we take Sicily and we conquer that, the whole world will end, the Sparta will be destroyed, right? It wasn't thought through. They were so certain of the answer that they didn't think of the parameters, right? They didn't think really on a grand strategic level. So people who are certain of things are very stupid. And when they have power, they're very, very dangerous. I'm not saying evil people aren't dangerous, but incompetent, stupid people who are so certain, who haven't thought things through, are just as dangerous as evil people. And negative capability is the essence of being creative. It means you can hold two thoughts in your head at the same time, two thoughts that apparently contradict each other, but you can entertain them and not grasp at one or the other. So you're kind of able to deal with ambiguity, and you're able to say, life isn't that, it isn't that. It's kind of both at the same time. That is creativity. That is real thinking. Getting back to the word stupid, I mean,
it's a theme today.
They post things on social media when they're young, not realizing that 5 years later, when they're trying to get a job at a law firm, they're like, sure, they're doing incredibly ridiculous things on Instagram, and that's part of their reputation. Everything you do is reflected through the social world, right? Nothing is in isolation. People are continually judging you. So you have to be aware. You have to think before you post. You have to think, how are people going to take this? If I say this stupid, rude thing that comes right out of me because I don't control my tongue, it's going to ruin one false step will ruin your reputation. Well, the other thing about reputation and credibility is it has to be consistent. So you have to it's like a brand. You're known for something. You're known for being strong. You're known for being self-confident. You're known for being Machiavellian or whatever it is.
Funny or lighthearted or, yeah.
And there's a certain kind of, shape to it. And if you're like all over the map and you're going over here, your reputation is about that, it's about this, it looks weak. It makes it look like, because we want to feel like people judge on appearances. They don't judge on the reality of who you are. They don't know who I am or who you are. They judge on what they see and how we appear. And if those appearances, they want to have something consistent that they can grab onto. They want to say something simple. That guy is funny and that's who he is. This guy is that. They want a very simple formula. And if you can't be consistent, if you're all over the place, if you're changing your ideas, you're conservative, then you're liberal, blah, blah, and you're trying to tack with each wind to get power, yeah, you'll get some power that way, but it'll make you look weaselly. Mm-hmm. It'll make you look distrustful, and people won't like that, and your reputation will be one of somebody who has no soul, who has no core. So reputation also has to have a consistency, a core to it, a soul that binds it all together. On the other hand, if you're a very Machiavellian person, poke holes in your enemy's reputation and you will destroy them. bring up things that are inconsistent with their reputation, and you will have ruined, be like popping a balloon. It'll just go like that, And I talk about how in that chapter, how P.T. Barnum played that game to ruin other people's reputation and make people wonder, is he really like that? I guess not, because I just saw this fact that contradicts it. So I'm giving you some very evil Machiavellian advice out there if you have enemies. The problem that we have is everything has to be this way or that way, has to be black or white. And it's not like that. It's kind of in between. You can learn to dance in life. You don't have to go this way or that way. You can kind of do both. So the best advice I give people is your 20s are the best years of your life. You're young. You probably look pretty good. You're healthy. You've got all these things going on for you. I want you to have some fun, and I want you to have adventures. I don't want you to be 22 and go and get a job at Goldman Sachs for the rest of your life, etc. You need fun, you need adventure, you need some looseness. You want some experiences. But it has to have some direction to it. It can't just be, I'm going to write poetry, I'm going to do rock and roll, I'm going to go and learn chemistry, I'm going to, become, this, that, and the other. No connection at all between all of these things. Just trying everything for the sake of novelty. That's a recipe for not being successful, because what you want to happen is you're 30 years old now. You've let your 20s are behind you. It's usually a time of reckoning where you go, I'm not so young anymore. Okay. I'm getting older. All right. I've had my fun. I've had adventure. I'm ready for something serious. And I've learned some real skills in life. For me personally, I learned how to write, or whatever it is. You didn't just go try 80 different things. You kind of had 4 or 5 that you experimented with. All right, now I know what I love. Now I can go down that path. And in mastery, I often tell the story to people of Paul Graham, who is the man who started Y Combinator. You've probably heard of Y Combinator. He was somebody who got into AI when he was like 18, 19 years old. He was like at MIT, I believe, right? Back in the late 70s when nobody was even thinking about it. Okay, he was a hacker because his father was a scientist who had computers back in the 70s, and he learned how to hack early on. Okay, so he went down the process of going into academia, of going into programs of computer programming, et cetera, and he was on a track, just like Huberman, at MIT to become a professor, to become proficient in it, and he hated it. It was soul-sucking. He didn't like the politics. He didn't like dealing with the people. He didn't like academia. So he quit, and he became a painter, because he loved design and he loved visuals. He comes back to New York. He's living in a loft. He's painting. He's happy in it, but he's not making any money. And then he hears an advertisement on the radio for, I think it was maybe Netscape, one of the earliest, internet, whatever you call it. And they're saying the future for computers is being able to buy and sell products on the internet. He ends up creating the first, I think, the prototype for all the things that we have now. Yahoo ended up buying it for like $5 million. And then the rest is history. He spent his 20s trying something out, learning real skills. He went somewhere else, learning something that he loved. And then he's 30 and he combines the two together. And he's a classic example because he gets very bored easily. So Y Combinator is worth billions of dollars, extremely successful. He sells it and gets into something else because he likes writing, etc. He's kind of a prototype for a lot of what we're talking about.